Hello, we're on Unit 4. This is the very first homework for Unit 4, and I just want to go through it quick. Now again, do not watch this like you watch SpongeBob. Don't just sit there and watch it and write stuff down. You should try it, and then if you have trouble, look at the video and stop when you get the help you need. Don't just watch it through. So if you're getting help on number 1, after you watch, stop number 1, pause it, and then work on number 2. Only look at the video when you need to. All right, so this is all about estimating percent. And this is very handy. And it's not as, it's just breaking things down into their components and then putting them back together the way you want. So think of it as Legos. We're taking and breaking it down into little Lego pieces and building it back up. So first thing, and I'm going to do this even though there's probably, you're going to say, well, you could have done it different and it would have been shorter. That's okay. I'm just going to try to do this so that it makes sense to you. So first thing I'm going to do is break this apart. So I want percentage over on this side. My pen's not working here. Just a second. Okay, so I got my pencil working. So here we go. We're going to start with this first problem. And I like to make a percentage column, a number column, and then the last column will be our answer. So what is 50% of 80? What is 50% of 80? Well, that's an easy one. That's 40. Okay, so if we know that's 40, what is 25% of 80? Well, that's going to be half of the 40 because 25% is half of 50%, so that's 20. So we're just kind of breaking this down. Okay, well, what's 10% of 80? Well, 10 goes into 80 8 times, right? 8 times 10 is 80. So we can also do that by just moving the decimal. When you divide by 10, you just move the decimal once. See that? If I just move it once, I get 8. So that's an easy way of doing that. Well, what's 5%? Right? What's 5%? Well, that's half of 8. So that's 4. So we just broke this down. Now, we could pretty much figure out any percentage using these. Well, what do you mean, Mr. McQuay? Well, we could just kind of add these back up. So we broke the blocks down. Now we can build the blocks up. So let's take 10% plus 10% plus 10%. And that's 30%, right? And what were those? Those were 8 each. So 8 plus 3, or 8 times 3, is 24. So 30% of 80 is 24. Okay? So we just break it down, build it back up. I'm going to keep building my table just like I did, just so you get the hang of what we're doing, even though I could stop before the end. So let's say 50% of 40 is 20. What's 25% of 40? Well, that's 10. What's 10% of 40? Well, that's 4. What's 5% of 40? Well, that's 2. Now, what am I going to build it back up as? Well, I'm just going to do the 25. 25% of 40 equals 10. Okay, so it's pretty easy. All right, let's do the next one. 45% of 48. Okay, so we want percentage and then our number. So here, I'm going to erase that. I don't want that. So we have our percent, we have our number, and then we have our answer. Okay, so what percent? 50% of 48 is half of that, so it'll be 24. Okay, we could even do 25% of 48, 24, half of 24. is 12. We could do 10%, that's 4.8. We could do 5%, that's 2.4. I'm just taking halves. Oops, I put it in the wrong spot. What was I doing? Okay, so now let's build it back up. What do we want? Okay, so we're going to take and build this back up, but we're going to take and go with our 50, which is 24, minus our 5, which is 2.4. Okay. All right, line up your decimals. 4 is 3, 10. So we have 6. 3 minus 2 is 1. And bring down your 2. Now, does that make sense? So that's 45%. Does that make sense? 21.6 plus 2.4, is that 24? Yep, that is. Okay, so our answer, 45% of 48, is 21.6. Oh, this one's easy. Look at this one, 50%. We've been doing those. So we have our percent here. That didn't go good. We have our percent here. We have our number here. So 50% of 64. So let's take in half that, 32. Well, there's our answer. 50% of 64 equals 32. Okay, so that was the practice. Now let's do some word problems. So the science test Kevin was taking on a computer was 42 problems. The computer said he was 5% done. How many problems does he have left? Okay, so let's set up our thing again. So here's our percentage, here's our number, and there's our answer. So we have 42. Okay, and let's take and let's do 10%, and then I'll get our 5%. Okay, so 10% of 42 is 4.2. And then what's half of 4.2? Well, we got 2.1. So what does this mean? He said he was done with, the computer said he was 5% done. Well, 5% of 42, 5% of 42 equals 2.1. Well, we can't have a 0.1 of a problem, so we're just going to say 2. So he finished 2 problems. Okay, so how many does he have left? Approximately 40 problems. So, approximately 40 problems. All right. Now, if you got exact, that would be okay too, but that's the idea. Oh, Bella was feeding her rabbit Snowflake. She was down to 15% of the 60-ounce food container. How much has she eaten? Okay, so what do we want? We want our numbers. So I'm going to make my chart again. Here's our percent. Here's our number. All right, and Bella the rabbit, she was down to 15% of 60 ounces. So our number is 60, and let's get to 10%. 10% of 60, what is that? That is 6, right? And then 5% is half of 60, is half of that, which is 3. So let's build this back up. 10%, 5%, 6 plus 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. 15% is 9. Okay, so what does that mean? She was down to 15%. So she ate how much? Well, if you put 15, you're going to get it wrong. Because, oh no, you won't. She was down to 15%. No, you would get it wrong because here's our food. Let's draw a picture. So she was down, so this is 100%. That's full. When it's there, it's full. Okay, and she's down to 15%. Right? So she's eaten all the way down this. So we want to know how much she's eaten. So we want to know what this is. Okay, so 100 minus 15, that's going to be what we're going to get. So this will be 9, this will be 9, that's 10, 5, and we got 8. Now, does that make sense? 85 plus 15 is at 100. 5 plus 5 is 10. 8 plus, yep. That is right. So she's eaten 85% of her food. Okay, we're going to do the next side here. There's 2 more left. In the last school election, 402 students voted. Mary received 60% of the votes. How many votes did she receive? Okay, so let's break this down again. So here's our percent, here's our number, so we have 402. And let's do 50 and 10. So 50% of 402 is 201. And then 10%, we're going to just move it one place. 10% is 40.2. So let's build this back up. 50% plus 10% is 60%. So, 40.2. Okay, 60%. So we have 201 plus 40.2. What do we got? So we got 2142. So she received 241.2 votes, and we're going to round that down to 241 because you can't have a partial vote. So she received 241. All right, I am going to let you do the last one by yourself because class is going to start.